So I've been waiting for the right time to release this video. With the recent assassination attempt on President Trump and President Biden dropping out of the presidential race, it's time to talk about the future of immigration and what it's likely going to be. Let me first read elements of the Republican Party and therefore Trump's plan for immigration. Okay, this is going to change a little bit in the future, but these are the broad strokes that we will probably be facing in the future. Okay, the commitment is for Trump and the Republicans to have an aggressive plan to stop the open border policies that were under President Biden that have caused so many problems in so many cities across America and under immigration law. Lots of problems resulted from the border crisis with thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming through, whether that was to all these different cities across the country or if it was really to enforce immigration law. It created a major problem, and that's the number one commitment that the Republicans and Trump are gonna make this next election, okay? The first thing that is going to be done is to secure the border, okay? So Trump and the Republicans want to restore every border policy that was in place under the original Trump administration, the most important of which is halting all releasing of illegal aliens into the interior of the country. So you've heard it as catch and release. There's different ways that's been described, but basically letting people come to the United States that don't have the legal authority to remain here are going to be quickly removed from the country. That's the number one thing. Number two is to complete the border wall and to shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. They're also going to use advanced technology and monitor and secure the border. So that's the number one goal, is to secure the border, and that's how Trump and the Republicans are seeking to do it, okay? Number two priority is to enforce immigration laws, is what they say. The plan is to strengthen ICE, increase penalties for illegal entries or visa overstays, and to reinstate the Remain in Mexico program. I don't know if that program actually was discontinued. I know that there was a lot of politics about how horrible it was, how Trump was really bad for doing it, and then Biden came around and he did it. So I don't really know if it exists now. I think it does. Well, if it doesn't now, it is going to come back under the Trump administration, okay? They're also going to invoke what they call the Alien Enemies Act to remove all known and suspected gang members, drug dealers, cartel members from the United States. Doesn't sound like a problem to me, right? We don't want people like that here. They've already destroyed Central South America or overseas. So removing them from our country is definitely not a bad thing, okay? Trump wants to bring back the travel ban and to use Title 42. If you remember, Title 42 was the pandemic plan under Trump that was never removed under Biden, even though it was supposed to be removed. It was never removed. That will help what their goal is to end the child trafficking crisis and to remove children out of the United States back to their countries, okay? So that is the third thing that the Trump administration is going to do to enforce current immigration law, okay? The third is what they say is to begin the largest deportation program in American history. There's not a whole lot of details about that, but you can get the general sense of what that means. It means if you are here illegally or if you violated immigration law, you're probably going to be deported swiftly. Again, that's not to say that you're absolutely going to be removed from the country. It means that the process is going to be started to remove people who don't have the right to be here. If you have the right to be here, you can fight for that right, okay? Which is what I do in my practice. So that is the third thing that they are talking about. So the fourth thing is to stop sanctuary cities, okay? The plan is to cut all federal funding to sanctuary jurisdictions that the Republicans say release dangerous illegal aliens that are criminals into the streets rather than hand them over to ICE. Again, this is a very political issue, but the point is, sanctuary cities, the whole point of these cities is you can come here because we are not going to cooperate with the federal government in order to process or detain people that are violent criminals, okay? That's the point of a sanctuary city. Well, that's going to end very quickly because you can't do any of this stuff unless you have federal funding. So that's the plan, okay? The other element to it is requiring that locals cooperate with federal immigration enforcement, okay? The hallmark of sanctuary cities is that these cities are not going to actually cooperate with the federal government when it comes to immigration enforcement. You guys have seen a lot of the politics about Chicago and New York and Denver, all these cities that have massive problems because of the border crisis, and all these individuals that were allowed to stay in these cities created massive problems. It's because they're sanctuary cities, okay? So Trump is going to end that by cutting the funding and requiring cooperation with immigration enforcement, okay? The sixth and final thing, I didn't list all the things, I listed what I thought were the most important, to prioritize merit-based immigration to ensure those admitted to the United States can contribute positively to our society, economy, and not become a drain on public resources. So public charges, you've heard a lot about that over the last 8 years. So basically to ensure that legal immigration systems put American workers first. That's the bullet point. But basically it's prioritizing people who have merit-based elements to their immigration to allow them to stay in the United States. Whether that means you have a special work visa or whether you have elements to your process through a family member that allows you to get a green card, you're going to have to contribute. You cannot become a public charge. And there was a big fight under the Trump administration of what it meant to be a public charge and what things his administration thought made you a public charge. Very different than Biden, okay? So there's a lot of litigation. There's a lot of fighting back and forth about this. So that is going to be a priority for Trump and the Republicans, not just Trump as a president, but Republicans, every state in the union who has got a majority of Republicans are going to be on this to enforce these priorities, okay? Stand by for more information as it comes out. Again, this is not the official release of Trump's plans, but this is what the Republican Party is intending to do under Trump. I think it's going to be pretty close to what he's going to release in the coming weeks. Click like, click the notification bell so you can be notified of future videos because it's just heating up, folks. So stand by for more videos. I will distill this information and explain to you what it means and provide more information for you. If you have questions, you can click the link below to reach me directly.